Yeah, I mean, I've always, I think, as far as when I was younger, I think I was just like a lot of my students. I did not know what I wanted to do. I was super confused. All I knew was what my parents told me. And as a good Chinese kid, I knew engineering, medicine, and maybe law school, and that's about it. So I chose engineering, and then I went to study engineering. And even though I could do it and I did fine in school, I just knew that that wasn't what I was created to do, that I was born to do. And I've always loved teens. I've always loved people. I was always curious about what makes people interesting, what their stories are. So I've always been very much of a people person. And I probably wish that somebody, a mentor or a guide or an advisor would have saw that in me and told me that younger, when I was younger, much earlier. So over the course of time, I had to, really learn what my skill sets are, what my passions are, and then begin to pursue it with courage. And I remember like a mentor after I graduated from college who just who saw me working with youth in our church and just said to me, this is what you were born to do. There is a light in your eyes that is there when you're working with teens, and you should keep going. You're doing a great job. And nobody ever said. I mean, very rarely, perhaps among Chinese families, do we say, you're really doing a great job. So I really appreciated this mentor who came in and told me that. Yeah, after I worked as an engineer for about 3 years, like I knew that that wasn't really what I was supposed to do, and I did feel, I did have this sense that God was calling me into some form of full-time ministry. And so I talked about it with my parents, and they were not happy. They were not encouraging me to continue in this direction. My father drove out with me. I went to study in seminary in Chicago, and I was from California. And my father drove out with me the 3 days to drive out to grad school. And the entire 3 days I was on the road with him. He tried to convince me to turn around and come back home. And it was heartbreaking to go against my parents, but I needed to really pursue who I was, and I really needed to listen to my heart and listen to the Lord in this sense, and begin to go in that direction. So a lot of that initial period was really learning to own my own decision, and really going in a direction that I felt like I needed to go. I think my mom passed away in 2005, but my father is still living. And even prior to my mom passing away, both my parents, I give them a lot of credit. They're super supportive, and they, even though I may not be doing exactly what they want me to do, they love me, and I give my parents a lot of credit. And both of my parents are outstanding people, so I give them a lot of credit for supporting me. But I think there's a sense for them where they needed to release me to make my own decision, and they needed to trust me. That trust, even in their own parenting, that I would learn to make better decisions. And so this is where we're at. So after seminary, my wife and I came out, and we actually started a church in San Jose, from scratch. And we were leading that church for about 7 years, and then we felt like God was calling us to start this other work, this kingdom business work, where we're partnering with ministries and nonprofits in India. And we began working on that, and that's what really pulled me out of the church. It wasn't so much that I stopped pastoring, or I'm burnt out on pastoring, or I'm not interested in it at all. It's mainly because we felt like God was calling us to do this other work, and invariably that's what we're called to do. We're called to be obedient and called to go where He calls us to be. So that's why we left, and then we started the other company. And then in the process of the couple years of doing this work, I also felt like God was calling me to start this company. And so we started this college admissions counseling life coaching, and we named it Illumina Education. And to be honest, in part, we did it because we were trying to find a domain name. But the other part of why we were doing it was because we're trying to light the path. And the path is confusing with regard to not just applying to college, but just how to be great people, how to be influential leaders, how to be motivating individuals, how to be successful for years to come. And we wanted to help light the path for students to really find their way. And that's where the name Illumin originated.
I joined Illumin in my freshman year of high school. My mom wasn't really sure how to navigate the college admissions process, and so through a mutual friend, we were connected to Elton, and since then he's been so much more than just a guide to the college admissions process for me. A sort of personal friend. Aside from talking about academics and extracurriculars, I can always feel free to vent to him about whatever high school social problems I may have. We can go out for fried chicken and milk tea. I just feel like there is a very real personal connection here that I've learned to value a lot over the past 4 years. I think that I do have a good relationship with my parents, and I would say that Elton's role as a coach has helped to improve my relationship with my mom even so. I think that while she does push me academically, sometimes she asks a bit much, so Elton sort of helps to put these expectations in place for me and makes me feel better about hitting the small goals in life, whereas my mom may overlook some of those things for maybe the grander scheme.
越嚟越多人上 YouTube 睇恩雨見證，因為
上 YouTube 最方便，好睇最多分。